You've heard it, it's numerous and it's amazing. But there's many other organizations that provide some of these things in our community already, and they are very good organizations. We're very proud of them, and they do amazing work. What the Community Engagement Center has that those don't is the interaction and the relationship building with our York City Police, and the mentorships and the friendships that are going to develop over that. It's not just going to benefit in the Community Engagement Center. That's going to carry out onto the street, and that's going to, those relationships, it's no longer, let's be honest, a lot of times when they see a police officer, it's because they're solving a problem, they're restoring order. Now it's going to be, hello, officer, John, or, hey, Sam, how's it going? And that's going to be amazing. And that's going to build things up that in a way that I don't think anything else that we've done before is going to have that kind of impact. So really excited about that. I'll step off of that because you already heard so much great stuff about it last week. Now onto the event, September 12th. It's coming up very soon, less than 2 months away. And it's a day where you get to go play golf, tennis, croquet. And by the way, cornhole is gonna be big this year. So Dan May is me reaching out to you. We're raising that up to the next level. So we're gonna have a whole tournament on that. It's gonna be very exciting. We've also made it very easy to get signed up this year. So you just go to yorkrotary.org. It's our main page. I'm sure you've all been there hundreds of times. You click on news and then love for community. There's a web form that our communications committee, Courtney and Sarah, put together that has raised us to the next level, made it really, really easy to sign up. So yorkrotary.org, news, love for community, submit it. It's going to go to our executive director, Lynn. She'll take care of you from there and get you all signed up. So please support us this year. It's an amazing, amazing cause. It's going to, this is what Rotary stands for. If there's not, this truly is. It's community, it's children, it's families, it's the disadvantaged among us. This is what Rotary is all about. So look forward to seeing you out there on September 12th. We're gonna have a great time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darren, and thanks for the great work that the fundraising committee has done leading up to what's going to be an outstanding event this year. The March of New Members continues today, and so we welcome Chris Toth, the chair of the membership committee, to introduce our 2 newest members. Chris.
It's a lot different when you can't ad-lib everything you're going to say, and you have to have actual information about people when you come up here. Today we do have 2 new members. The first of those new members, directly to my left, Brittany Reese. For those of you that on a regular basis talk about how you have to come all the way from downtown York to come to this meeting, just know that Brittany comes here from Hanover. So stop complaining. Part of the reason why she does come here, though, is because she is currently an account executive at Quality. A lot of you probably do work with her right now and may not even know it. And Quality Kyocera. So if you guys have copiers or IT needs in your building, we have a new member that you might want to talk to. She and her husband, Doug, love to travel. Recently, they went to Turkey and Greece. The highlights of the trip were the ruins and also the food, which really to me is just about the highlight of every trip that I make, whether it's to Giant or to Greece. Prior to her current employment, she owned her own theater company, which was down in the Hanover area and did performances in Gettysburg. What did happen, though, is as happened with a lot of theaters during that time, once COVID hit, she did have to shut things down. Now, unwittingly, she already helped the York community when her company went down. A lot of the things that she had there, she did donate to Dream Rights right here in York. So she was already benefiting us as a community before she even joined our club. We are very, very lucky to have Brittany as a Rotarian in our club. I'm glad that we were able to get her attention. Previously, she was in the Hanover Club, and this is going to be something that we don't have too many of in here, but she did join Rotary in Hanover at age 19 when she started her own company there. So I'd like you all to welcome Brittany Reese. Next up, Dan Burns. Dan, for any of you that drive along Springwood Road at any time and you go past the golf course and things like that, you pass by Dan's house. Dan does have the horse farm that is right across the street from where the golf course is. Dan is a graduate of York Catholic. and did spend time in the Marine Corps from 1999 through 2005. He was mainly at Camp Lejeune down in North Carolina, but did spend time in Iraq. And he did not tell me that the highlights were the ruins and the food while he was in Iraq, but we'll just assume. Currently, Dan works for the York County. He's the York County Clerk of Courts. He does know where all of you are. I think part of the reason why he did join is he says here, he will find you. So if any of you have any outstanding debts, please take care of those immediately. Dan and his better half, Katie Fitzpatrick, have a 5-year-old daughter, Charlotte, and TBD is on the way in October. So they've got a second one coming. So let's welcome our friend Dan. Thank you all.
We are delighted to welcome both of you to the Rotary Club of York. I know that your presence with us will change us for the better, and I hope that this remarkable community that you've become a part of will change you for the better as well. Members, please help me welcome again Brittany and Dan as new Rotarians. And don't leave today before I give you these. You skirted off awfully fast. All right, so just in case you didn't get enough Chris Top, please welcome him back for a Communications Committee update. There
we go. All right. Okay, Communications Committee, we've got a couple of things to share with all of you. Right now, we've made some changes to our website. And I know that based on the traffic that we're seeing there, all of you or both of you are hitting that website monthly, quarterly. So, but there is a lot of information there for all of you. I would say some of the most important changes that we have made to the website is there are some things that are a lot easier. I would say easier for you and the committees that you're on, and I would say way easier for the Communications Committee as well. If you do go to the resources portion of it, you will see that there is a place where you could put in information to have a Facebook post put up. It will ask you what information you have about the event or the thing that you want up there. It'll ask you to put pictures in there. It'll ask you to give us what the links are to the people that you want to link to, which is a lot better. And we will post all that stuff. It'll give you, we'll be able to do LinkedIn. We'll be able to do Instagram we're working on now. We'll be able to do all that stuff, provided you provide all of the information. In the past, what I would say, it was a, let's just call it a less efficient way of requesting a Facebook post. We would normally get something that said, hey, we have something on Saturday. Can you do something for it on Facebook? I don't know what you're doing. So we've made that a lot better. Also on there, you'll be able to get member applications on there much easier. And as always, it's a lot easier to donate money too. So try that one out at the very least, as often as you can, and see what you can get from there. The other reason that I'm up here today is that we are looking for new members of our committee. Our committee does do a lot of things that you may or may not know of. We've done a lot to make sure that we update things on our website. We've done things to make sure that we keep our technology to where it's supposed to be. We've done a lot to make things easier for you to get information and to donate. And we are looking for people, particularly anybody that's got some sort of experience with website work, and anybody that's got any social media experience. So anybody out there that would like to help out with that, we'd appreciate it. And that's all I've got for you today. Thank you very much.
This is off script, but I'm going to say a word about going to our website. I wasn't great at going to our website frequently enough myself. And when I started my presidency, I did a very simple thing. I don't know how your life runs in your day-to-day work with your computer, but I've always got a number of tabs that are just open most of the time. And I just opened the club main page tab and I leave it up there. And it's amazing how often I will go check things on that just because it's there versus having to remember to go to it. It's a simple thing. I'm a simple guy. Thought maybe that would work for you too. Thanks very much, Chris, for the update and for the great work of that committee. Once again, we are fortunate to have recipients of the club's scholarship funds with us today. As Diane shared with us last week, the new application system that the committee entered into this year brought us many, many qualified applicants for our scholarships. And today we get to hear about two. Diane was unable to be with us today, and so committee member and past president Al Sykes has been their host, which is a testimony right out of the gate to their ability to survive under difficult circumstances. Al, the podium is yours.
First of all, Glenn, I know you're new president and all. You never want to say, Al, the podium is yours. Listen, you were all here last week when Diane Marino said from this podium that because we have this wonderful organization that is now managing and recruiting for our scholarship programs, that she was no longer going to have to threaten you with having me at the podium or Jody tell jokes. And yet, here we are. Now, the good news is I don't have a baseball. The bad news is Jody has a joke.
Oh, thank you, Al. Hey, okay, just real quick. A lot of you didn't have to endure this, which happened about 30 years ago. I would tell really, really bad jokes. And Gordon Fryrick can attest to that because I would test my jokes on Gordon and my husband. And if they said no, I'd tell them. Okay, so here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to know how your spouse really feels about you, put your spouse and your dog in the trunk of your car. And now don't leave them there that long because it's so hot. But leave them there just for a few minutes. And when you open the trunk, see which one is happier to see you.
It's good to know that after 30 years, Jody's jokes haven't gotten any better. Okay, getting serious, which I'm always reluctant to do. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to two wonderful and outstanding students and young ladies from our community. The first student that I will introduce is Carly Frum. And Carly, I'm sorry, I have to do this. Carly is from Kennerdale High School and is now attending Elizabethtown College. She is majoring and going into her junior year. She is majoring in public relations and graphic design. Carly is the recipient of our Service Above Self Scholarship. And she has continued, as it were, to earn that scholarship as the activities she has at Elizabethtown, among which is being president of the Student Senate. So our first recipient is Carly Frum. Our second recipient, and Sarah is the recipient of the James C. and Carrie Bush scholarships. She is a 2020 graduate of Central York High School and is attending MIT for math and economics. I can't even get my hands around that. She'll be a sophomore. And Carly is here with her mom, Paula. And as most of you know, Sarah's dad is Doug. And coincidentally, Doug is the treasurer of our club. And I did see that he was signing checks before this started, but I didn't see that any of them were made out to MIT. So anyway, I'd like to invite both ladies to come up to the podium. And Sarah said she wanted to say a few words, probably not about her dad.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again to all members of Rotary for this scholarship. I'm truly honored to be the recipient of it. I was asked to share one accomplishment that I had this year at MIT. And one of the things that was surprising me was my experience as a member of the basketball team there. Yes, MIT has sports. Gotten that one a lot. But at the conclusion of my freshman season, I was named a captain for next year. So as a sophomore, I will be a captain starting for next season, which is a huge honor there as well. So thank you again to everyone for this honor.
Let me just ask you again to give us one more round of applause for these two outstanding students.
Congratulations again to both of you for your accomplishments, and it's our privilege to support you in your work and in the future. And Al and Jody, thank you as always for the understated and restrained presentation that you made. And now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome fellow Rotarian Jules Tolbert, who will introduce our speaker for the day. Jules.
I do not have a joke, but thank you, Jody. As Darren mentioned when he was up here, last week, Commissioner Muldrow provided a motivational update on his efforts to establish a youth engagement community center, which this club is continuing to support through the upcoming Love for Community event, as we heard. We also heard last week from several of his partners in furthering that effort. Today, we'll hear from another partner in that effort, Tavon Parker, founder and CEO of the Advantage program. Tavon, or Mr. Motivator, as he's become known, was born and raised in the city of York. He's a father, husband, son, brother, student, community activist, and entrepreneur. Throughout his childhood, Tavon excelled in sports and is a 1,000-point scorer at his alma mater, William Penn Senior High School. At the age of 14, Tavon started his own lawn care business called Tavon's Lawn Care. After gaining a scholarship and venturing into college, he unfortunately began to lose focus, and it caught up to him quickly. He lost his scholarship. His business had struggled with him being away, and he struggled in school. He was forced to move back to York. With a lazy mindset, as he admits and describes, and the need to survive, he became a drug dealer. Within 18 months, he'd been arrested twice and was in state prison. He used his time there to focus on reorienting his life and was released early through a boot camp program. He got married. Tanique and her mother are here today, and restarted Tavon's Lawn Care, growing it quickly to several hundred customers. This week, his company will service approximately 200 properties in and around York. In 2020, Tavon lost his brother to gun violence. He then decided to take his entrepreneurial skills in a different dimension, and he started the Advantage program. The mission of the Advantage program is to provide youth with mentorship and support in their lives, as well as exposure to environments outside of York, opportunities that are in York, and to help them create a sustainable post-high school life plan. It has grown significantly in its first year and now serves over 50 youth. Moreover, it is a well-run organization with an impressive board of directors, some of whom are here today, a clear strategic plan, and sound finances. Tavon has received much recognition for his work in the community. Last month, the York Daily Record named him one of York's most influential people. He is a finalist for a Downtown First Award for Outstanding Individual. And later in the fall, he will receive a Community Impact Award at the annual Bro to Go organization's gala event. In turning his life around and in seeking to engage and mentor urban youth, Tavon wrote the book on changing the narrative. Literally, He wrote the book, Changing the Narrative, about lessons from his life story, which, by the way, it's available for you to look at on the table, and it's available for purchase on his website, tpmotivates.com, along with other merchandise and some great motivation. At the end of each chapter in this book, there is a reflection. The one most meaningful to me was this one. During this chapter, one narrative rang true over and over again. Whose job is it to make sure you're successful? Oftentimes, we blame other people for our shortcomings. Who's in charge of your success? Is that the same person responsible if you don't achieve success? During President Glenn's tenure so far, we have been imagining. As we listen and reflect on today's presentation, let's imagine what good things could happen if together we all diligently work to change the narrative. Please welcome Mr. Motivator, Tavon Parker.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Okay, let's try that again. I'm very used to speaking to a group of kids that are very energetic. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. All right, that's a little better. That's a little better. Before I get started, I want to first and foremost give thanks to my Lord and Savior, as well as the leadership here. Glenn, Julian, thank you guys for the opportunity, as well as the fellow Rotarians as well. As you guys see, my name is Tavon Parker. I am a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a businessman, but at the core of what I am and what I do, I'm a servant. And it really hit me when I was looking at the website of the Rotary Club, because one of you guys' core things is service over self. And at the core of everything that I try to do, it's to do enough service to leave this world better than I found it. So I thank you guys for the work that you've already done and continue to do in this city and honestly in the world, as this is a worldwide organization. So thank you guys. When I, as you guys see, when I being born and raised here in York, Pennsylvania, I always had a lot of big dreams, big goals. I was very into sports growing up. And one of the things that I learned through sports is no matter what, if you work hard enough, you can achieve something. So all my life, I tried my best to earn a scholarship. So I was able to go to college, and through working my butt off to finally be able to go to Millersville with that scholarship, I lost it and blew my opportunity and found myself right back in the environment and the situation that I worked so hard to get out of. At the same time, a lawn care business that I worked so hard to start, as soon as I go away, it starts struggling. So what I started to realize is life's going to throw curveballs at you and life's going to come at you. However, it's not about what happens to you, but how you respond to it. So what I started to do was change my perspective about life. And through changing my perspective, I was able to start altering some things and perceiving things differently. And that's really what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. As stated, I started a lawn care business when I was 14 years old. And to me, honestly, it was kind of common sense. I started working for a company called Rent-A-Kid, and it was literally that. For $5 an hour, you could rent a kid to come wash your car or cut your grass or clean your house for you. And that's a great opportunity. However, $5 an hour doesn't really stretch too far when you're a kid trying to buy some sneakers. So lo and behold, the people started seeing me cutting grass and began to ask me if I could cut their grass. And look, before long, the business grew. I was able to start accumulating clients. I then solicited my two brothers to begin helping me cut, and we began to start making some money. I was able to purchase a truck at the age of 15 before I could even have my license. And no, this is often a question, I did not drive illegally. But I was able to start putting some things in place. And like I said, I worked so hard to only have everything come crushing down. The lawn care continued to grow. This is some beautiful pictures. But the lawn care continued to grow, and we service York, Harrisburg, Lancaster, Columbia, and surrounding areas as well. As Drew stated, we currently service over 200 properties a week, which sounds like a lot, but it is. And the greatest thing about the lawn care, and which I'm most proud of, is it's not about cutting grass. Obviously, we're trying to beautify the city, the county, but it's about the opportunity to offer employment. And that's the biggest thing that I really look forward to. One thing the lawn care did, and we'll dive into this in a second, but we partnered with the Advantage Program, and the young men that are in the Advantage Program now have an opportunity for economic advancement. One of the plights that was explained to me is you can't start working until you're 14. After you turn 14, there's only a certain amount of hours that you can work. There's only certain days you can work. A kid literally worked for 2 weeks and came with an $89 check and asked me what he's supposed to do with it. And I told him to save it. So it really is about providing the opportunity for the youth to make some money while also providing those resources to start saving money, deposits, withdrawals. One thing that we try to do is not talk theory, but instead we try to literally relate and give practical and tangible examples. And with that, I have a story for you guys. I'm a storyteller, I'm an author. So I do have a story for you guys. And the story is about a young man. And this young man grew up, he had his mom, he had his dad, and he was the pride of the community. And what happened was this young man lost his father at a very young age. And when he lost his father, he then began to lose focus, right? He went into the wilderness, if you might, and he began to hang out with his friends, and he began to forget that he was destined to be the king. And what happened to this young man, and what my question to you guys is, how much time do we waste when our parent or somebody we look up to is no longer there? And a lot of you guys might not know the story I'm talking about, but Simba, man, I was so disappointed when Mufasa died. And what I started realizing is that, again, it's about perspective, but what I started realizing is the Advantage Program is acting as a supplemental parent. Because a lot of times the kids in our city, the kids in our area, they lose their parents at a young age. And if you lose your parent, then who do you begin to turn to? Then who do you begin to talk to? And the only thing I ask is, what if somebody stepped in, right? Because what I noticed is it wasn't until the elder hit Simba in his head and told him what he was supposed to be doing, and he went back to the pride and all of a sudden turned everything around for them. However, what if that elder never came? Or better yet, what if he came sooner? And that's what we tried to do with the Advantage Program, because the truth of the matter is we're losing our kids at a rapid pace, and we don't have time to sit and wait for somebody. We don't have time to sit and listen to somebody. We have to begin to act. And that's exactly what we try to do. Can we go to that second video? This is about a minute long video. Because if all you have is your viewpoint and your opinions, like the world is too big. You may notice some people, some familiar faces in this video. So without further ado, I'll start on this end. This is Officer Farmer. Everybody say good morning, Officer Farmer. Good morning, Officer. This is Officer Matt. This is Officer Matt. Good morning, Officer. This is Commissioner Moses. Good morning. This is Attorney Curtis. One of the faces. This is the District Attorney Dave Sunday. District Attorney Sunday. Good morning, District Attorney Sunday. This is Judge Kraft. Good morning, Judge Kraft. And this is the Mayor, Mayor Halford. Good morning, Mayor Halford. So before we get started, so in the video you guys just watched, one thing that we try to do with the Advantage Program is provide exposure to different people, places, and things. So we hosted a judicial panel where we had the commissioner, the sitting DA, a judge, the mayor, as well as police officers and probation come and talk to the kids. But the deeper thing was the kids got to talk to them. We got to do a lot of team building activities, and a lot of the plans and visions that Commissioner Marshall has for his building is something that we got to do right there on that day, and something honestly that I'm very, very proud of. So with that's one thing about the Advantage program. However, some people say, why Advantage? And I say, why not? Most of the time, what we don't realize is we all get an advantage in life. Sometimes it comes through a scholarship. Sometimes it comes from a friend, a parent, a family member. The young men that we deal with, if I ask them, who taught you how to, if I would ask you guys, if I ask you guys, who taught you how to balance your first checkbook? Or who took you on your first family vacation? Or who bought you your first pair of spikes for football? A lot of times it's a parent, a grandparent, a guardian. But what if you don't have an answer? Who is supposed to provide that advantage? And that's the gap that we're continue to fill. A lot of obviously these are the main problems with the kids in our city. The fact of the matter is the school to prison pipeline is increasing. The kids in our schools are targeted more, and because you get in trouble in school, I personally don't think that should lead to police involvement. Furthermore, the crime in our city is outrageous compared to some of the bigger cities, especially when you begin to look, and we are the smaller of the cities. And then this is the one that hits home the most, because as the shootings continue to increase, we're seeing that the age is starting to decrease. The young men that are committing these violent acts, and unbeknownst to most people, the violent acts and the shooting isn't the leading cause of crime from our young men and our young people in the justice system. The actual leading crime is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but property damage. When somebody breaks in and trespasses or breaks your window. And our goal is to really eliminate all of it. And how can we eliminate it? I think that's what we're actually about to dive into it. But I think if we can start focusing on preventative, and I did hear you say that as well. If we can start focusing on preventative, I think we're going to get a lot further in a shorter distance of time. So the Advantage program, great picture. The Advantage program is a mentorship program, a preventative mentorship program. Our 3 goals are to provide a mentor and advocate, as well as exposure, and to create a sustainable plan. On everybody's table, I gave an example of the sustainable plan just because I wanted you guys to be able to see it. But the one example I wanted to share with you guys, how many growing up, how many of you guys thought you was going to be in the NFL or NBA? None of you guys? Wow, okay, at least one, because I did. And I love when kids say that. When I was growing up, obviously they shut my dream down, and then I stopped growing and wasn't as fast as my brother, and kind of realized that it wasn't going to happen. But the kids in the program, I try to allow them the freedom to express themselves. So a kid said he wants to go to the NFL, and his goal is fine. However, what does that look like in your sustainable plan? So you're entering high school, there's grades, there's GPA, there's scholarships. But on the flip side of that, these kids now have to research how long is the average NFL career, which is 2 years, not for long. And what do NFL players do after they retire? That starts shifting their perspective and makes them think, wow, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to be this? And it's the same thing. We had a kid that wanted to be a civil engineer. We had a kid that wanted to be a math teacher. And it doesn't really matter what you want to be. What matters is what steps are you going to be willing to take to get there? And that's where we come in to try to really help these kids execute their sustainable plans. As far as the exposure piece, we try to go out of town at least once a month. And then what we do on the other days is we expose them to a lot of things in town. So we've been to Baltimore to the Blacks and Wax Museums. We've been to a HBCU in Morgan State. We went to Philadelphia to the Constitution Center. We've been to UPenn, we've been to Temple. But then inside of the city, we've partnered with the Creative York and took the kids to learn about arts and paint pictures and whatnot. We partnered with the Escape Room. We've taken the kids to Martin Library, obviously the judicial panel that we've had. So we're really, what we're seeing is we're really shifting these kids' perspectives and their mindset. And what we've seen was we actually have a 0% of our kids. Well, I guess you could say 100%, but none of our kids have any criminal activity. None of them have had any police contact or anything with the judicial system. And that's really our goal, to make sure that we affect that change. Further going forward, our strategic goals, this is really how we do what we do. And this is what Jules referred to when he mentioned our strategic plan, because our goal, we're at 50 kids and we can honestly have more. However, it's not about how many kids you have, it's about how many kids you can connect to. And what we seen in year one was we had 57 kids, but on a week-to-week basis, we'll have 20 kids there. we'll have 57 kids, but when we send text messages out, we only hear back from 10 parents. And that wasn't really working for us. So this year, we got the parents more involved. We have access to more of the kids' information. And what we're starting to see is a lot of the strategically, we're starting to have a higher percentage on a week-to-week basis and more parental buy-in, which is honestly the goal, because we have the kids 2 hours out of 168 a week. When the parents has them 166, we have to help the parent as well. So this is what we do as the core of the program. We meet on Saturdays from 9 to 11 a.m. We either use the Yorktown Center out Fireside, or we use the Vonnie Grimes Gym. During these meetings, we're one of our sponsors are Chick-fil-A East, so we always provide the kids with breakfast. Everybody loves Chick-fil-A. We always make the kids work out as well, because if you're going to get great food, I think you should at least work out for it. And then on top of that, we have a plethora of conversations about. One conversation was reality versus fake fiction. One conversation was police interactions. One conversation was how to act as a young man if you receive a picture from a young lady. So there's just a lot of different group conversations that we have, and then we break them down into younger groups, 7 to 12, 13 to 17, and then have age appropriate conversations as well. As far as the educational events and the exposure piece, and the biggest thing is, I think you guys seen it in the video, but the community service. We really want these young men to start taking pride in the place that they live and the people that they interact with. This is a snapshot of where we're headed. Once we, in 2023, once we acquire our building, everything is going to pretty much explode for us. We'll go from a 1-day program to 5 days a week, as well as increase our number of kids as well. Right now, we currently have 8 to 10 mentors on a consistent basis, and we have volunteers as well. So we know that we can sustain the numbers. It's just about trying to get a building so we can further the project. And then this is always everybody's favorite page. This is our board. There's actually 2 pages but we have a very diverse board. We have people that work in the law system. We have people that have history working with kids. We also have my favorite board member, Tanique Parker, who is the treasurer at Traditions Bank. I'm sorry, she's the treasurer for us. She's the accountant at Traditions Bank. And then Brandon Parker, who is our head mentor. And then there goes another face you guys might recognize, Tiflo and Chaz Green, Renee Ritter, Cody, and Kate. But this is our board. This is the people behind the scenes that do a lot of the work, that make a lot of the things happen, and that ultimately make the choices for how the program is organized. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a big thank you to our partners and our sponsors. Julian and Jolene Tolbert are huge for us, as well as the Collage Shop, Gordon Kaufman, Matt's Enterprise, First Choice Home Buyers, and Foursquare's Development. Fulton Bank, Traditions Bank, and Chick-fil-A also are huge. Fulton Bank actually came in and did a financial literacy lesson with our kids last year, and they're going to be doing that again this year. But our partners are really what make us go, and we're actually looking forward to adding the Rotary Club on there as well. So above all, I do want to leave you guys with this thought. I know you guys might have thought I was joking with the Simba and the Lion King story, but one thing that I learned, and it's a story that really sits and resonates with my heart, but the story is about a young man who wanted to make a difference, and he didn't know what to do, and he went to talk to his father and continue to ask his father, like, hey, I want to make a difference, what should I do? But he didn't know what to do, and his dad said, just try to change one person. So the kid working at a grocery store, he began to put a note in people's bag as he bagged their groceries for them. And before long, more and more people began coming to this store, and everybody's in aisle 9. They're going to this same aisle, and the manager can't figure it out, right? He's like, why is everybody going to this? The manager's up watching the camera. Why is everybody, tell them 1 through 8's open, right? When we go to Walmart and it's self-checkout, he's like, no, use everybody else. Don't use the self-checkout. And everybody can't figure it out. And then one time the manager came down and somebody was walking out and they said, man, that kid's the best. And the manager said, what kid? And he pointed to the kid that was bagging everybody's groceries for him. And the manager said, why is he the best? And the lady said, because he makes me smile. I'll be back tomorrow. And that story really resonates with me because that young man didn't know that he was affecting everybody. He didn't know by putting a simple message in somebody's bag that they're going to want to start coming to his line more. But what he did end up doing was changing the life of somebody else just by allowing himself to be of service. And above all else, I do want you guys to leave with one thing, because as I said, I had to shift my perspective. I had to shift my mindset. And I had to really learn that in order to leave this place better, you have to do stuff, but your heart has to be in the right place and your mind has to be in the right place. And the reason that I really love the Advantage program and I really dedicated myself to changing the narrative is because I think York is a great place. And if we are willing to sacrifice and do enough and put service over self, I think that we'll be able to just start seeing that. My name is Tavon Parker. Thank you guys for your time. Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
How would you contrast your organization with Big Brother and Big Sister?
Repeat the question. Tim asked, how would I contrast our organization with Big Brothers and Big Sisters? So one of the biggest one of the biggest differences that our organization does is we offer a plethora of options. However, we have multiple mentors. So we're only males and we're only 7 to 17. That's one of the biggest differences. And then we're only on Saturdays right now. I know I think Big Brothers and Big Sisters are a little bit more often. And then the one drawback that I often hear from the bigger organizations is the wait list. We don't have a wait list. We accept kids on a quarterly basis, and if you apply, you get in. And sorry, the last big difference from us is no kid that comes to our program ever spends a dime. Everything is completely free. Every trip we go on, everything they ever get, everything is free. Yes, sir.
Are you planning the female component?
Absolutely. So the reason that we started with males was because we felt like we could relate to them more, being most of our volunteers are males. After we launched and we started getting more female support, in our plan in year 3, after we get a year or 2 after we get a building, we're looking to add the sister component in the program as well. Yes, ma'am. Got you. So she said she wanted me to explain what happens if a child gets in trouble in school on a Tuesday and then they come to our program on a Saturday. So we do have a disciplinary set of rules set in place. One of our biggest ways to discipline, I went through a 6-month program called boot camp. So one of the best ways to discipline is push-ups. Unfortunately, if push-ups don't work, then we kind of figure some stuff out. So we did have an example. A kid got in trouble in school on Tuesday, and he ended up coming on Saturday because his parent allowed him to come. He had to do some push-ups. He had to write an essay, and then the other punishment was you was last to eat Chick-fil-A. Obviously, we cater each discipline action towards the I guess you could say whatever the kid does, because there's varying degrees of getting in trouble in school. But however, we do try to hold them accountable. And what we actually started doing since we launched this year is during the week, we increased our weekly presence as well. So we pick kids up, and kids miss out on opportunities if they get in trouble at home or they get in trouble in school. And one of the biggest things is just really trying to hold them accountable and make sure that they own up, can at least admit what they did, and then kind of make sure they change that thought so that criminal thinking or whatever led them getting in trouble doesn't happen again. Okay, I seen 2 at the same time. We can go here and here. Got you. Great question. He said, how do we communicate with the schools? Is it one-on-one, or is it a group, or do we talk to the administrators directly or through parents? And then you said, what was the second part? Mm-hmm. Got you. So what we do is the parents sign a waiver that releases the kids' health record, it releases their food record, it releases their grades and academic record as well. So we're able to talk right with the school and get all the information right from the school or the school district and act accordingly. And what we do is we actually don't teach a school curriculum. We teach personal development. And on each of you guys' table is a workbook, Changing the Narrative workbook. Most of the lessons come out of that workbook. But so what we do is the tutoring. We do have teachers, social workers, volunteers come in and do a tutoring piece. However, that is based off of whatever the young man is struggling in school, not necessarily teaching off of a curriculum. Yes, ma'am. Oh, go ahead. Yep. 7. So we start at 7, and 17 is the cutoff. we do have one 18-year-old that was in our program and still exemplifies everything that we was trying to instill. So now he's actually a mentor. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So the first question is how would our program utilize the space at the Community Engagement Center? And the second question was, what will we be looking for in a building because some Rotarians may be able to help. So obviously I speak with Commissioner Marshall very often. He tries to get me to run 8 miles, but I don't want to die. So one thing that we talk about obviously is the space and the place that he has. And with us wanting to get our own building, we're not against sending our kids there. What we talk about is he wants a space where his officers can take their uniform off and still engage with the young men. So what we're looking to do is bring our young men to activities and different things they have at that building to offer that opportunity. And then the second piece is once we get our a building established, one of the things that we're going to start doing is tutoring on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the afternoons, as well as parental engagement things like yoga, basketball, sports with parents and whatnot. And then the biggest thing that we're looking to do once we get a building is begin to help our community, our parents with childcare. A lot of the parents have multiple kids, so you can't start until you're 7. But if we can offer a daycare service from 6 months old to 6 years old, we can help cover that gap. And then we kind of feed our kids into York College as well as Hack, Penn State York. So after they graduate, we can hopefully send them to provide a scholarship and help them in college as well. But it's really just that feeder program. Yes, sir. So if I heard you correctly, the question is how do I go about engaging the younger kids to getting them to want to work? So I haven't asked anybody to change any rules. With my lawn care, we have subcontractors, and the younger kids, we actually don't allow them to sign the paperwork for a subcontractor, so they get paid in cash unless they're 14 or over. And then the way that we get them engaged and wanting to work is the money, right? If a lot of times, if you give a kid a check, it's not as impressive. But if you give them cash or show them money, it's like, oh, how can I get that? Oh, well, this, and this. And then they can kind of follow that blueprint. The important piece is on Friday, their check is what they think in their head it should be. Until I have to explain to them, like, yeah, when you miss a day or you leave early, that brings the number down.
One more.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, go after.
I actually don't have a question. I just want to say out loud in front of this room how proud I am of you. I knew you as a little kid. I had you when you were in school. In addition to being an athlete, you were my class president when you were in high school. And despite the hiccup and stuff you went through in the middle, exactly what made you successful back then is what's going to make you successful now.
Thank you.
Can I pick a good last questioner or what? I think everyone in this room knows a story of somebody who has had a hiccup, has hit bottom in some way in their life and turned their life around. They're great stories. There are many fewer, I think, that have taken that kind of experience and turned it into the service above self model that you clearly embody in your person and that you are enacting in this program. We are if you'll allow me to say it on our behalf, we're proud of you too. And we're delighted that you were here today. And let me also say, anybody who's living out service above self like this ought to be a Rotarian. Just saying. Just saying. Our book donation this week, which will really shock you, is the book Changing the Narrative by none other than our speaker, Tavon Parker. It will be donated to William Penn High School in honor of his time with us today. So thank you again. Next week, our speakers, plural, will be one guy that you saw in a video, District Attorney David Sunday, and WellSpan's Dr. Mitch Crawford. They will discuss the Community Action for Recovery and Diversion Project, known as CARD. The CARD program aims to address the needs of people with unmet behavioral health concerns in the York criminal and family justice systems. Our closing quote today on the theme Imagine is provided by, again, appropriately enough, our own Jules Tolbert, who says, quote, "Imagine if we all worked together diligently to change the narrative about negative aspects of our world." Imagine indeed. Rotarians, thank you. This meeting stands adjourned.